Paracelsus, 1493 to 1541, was a Swiss physician, alchemist, and philosopher who played a significant role in the history of medicine. Born Ezechiel von Benzenberg, he adopted the name Paracelsus, which is derived from the Greek word para, meaning alongside or beyond, and Celsus, the name of a famous Roman physician. He is considered one of the most important figures in the development of modern Western medicine. His philosophical approach emphasized the importance of empirical observation and experimentation. Empirical observation is the process of collecting data through direct sensory experience or systematic measurement without relying on theoretical assumptions or prior knowledge. It involves carefully observing phenomena, patterns, or behaviors to gather accurate and unbiased information that can be used to make informed decisions or draw conclusions. Empirical observations often involve collecting data through measurements, recordings, or surveys, and are typically motivated by a desire to understand the natural world or a particular problem. By focusing on observable facts rather than theoretical frameworks, empirical observation allows researchers to identify patterns, test hypotheses, and develop evidence-based theories that can be refined and improved over time. As for experimentation, it is the process of testing a hypothesis or theory through systematic observation, manipulation, and measurement, with the goal of gathering evidence to support or reject it. It involves designing and carrying out a controlled study where variables are manipulated, observed, and recorded, allowing researchers to determine cause and effect relationships between different factors. Through experimentation, scientists can test hypotheses, refine theories, and gather data that inform decision-making processes and drive innovation. By creating controlled conditions and manipulating variables, experimenters aim to isolate the effects of specific factors on a particular outcome, thereby gaining insight into the underlying mechanisms and processes at work. At the time of Paracelsus, the insistence on empirical observation and experimentation directly challenged traditional Galenic medical theories. Galen, 129 to 216 AD, a Greek physician, was also a prominent figure in the history of medicine. His teachings dominated Western medical practice for over 1,500 years. Although he developed a systematic approach to medicine based on observation, experimentation, and reasoning, his theories were largely rooted in dogma and superstition. Galen's ideas included the theory of humors. Blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile supposedly regulated the body's functions. He also promoted the use of medicinal herbs and minerals to balance these humors. Paracelsus, however, challenged Galen's theories by rejecting the idea of fixed humoral balances and instead advocated for a more empirical approach to medicine, emphasizing the observation of symptoms rather than relying on preconceived notions, thus marking a significant departure from Galen's dogmatic approach. Paracelsus' challenge to traditional medical theories can be informative for various fields beyond medicine. Critical thinking and skepticism are essential for progress, as evidenced by his willingness to challenge conventional wisdom. Critical thinking has far-reaching implications for science, enabling researchers to evaluate evidence objectively, identify methodological flaws, and challenge assumptions that may have led to false conclusions. By applying critical thinking principles, scientists can separate signal from noise, recognize the limitations of their research, and avoid confirmation bias, which can lead to pseudoscientific claims. Critical thinking also facilitates peer review, as reviewers can assess the rigor and validity of a study's methods and results, ensuring that only reliable findings are published. Ultimately, critical thinking in science promotes a culture of intellectual honesty, transparency, and trust, allowing scientists to build on each other's work and advance our understanding of the world through rigorous and evidence-based inquiry. Skepticism in science refers to an open-minded attitude that questions the validity and reliability of new claims or findings, especially those that are unconventional or revolutionary. Skeptics approach scientific information with a healthy dose of doubt, recognizing that even well-established theories can be refined or overturned by new evidence. They ask tough questions such as, what is the source of this claim? How did you arrive at this conclusion? And what are the potential flaws in your methodology, to ensure that the evidence meets rigorous standards of scrutiny? Skepticism is not the same as being dismissive or closed-minded. Rather, it's a thoughtful and systematic approach to evaluating information, which helps scientists separate fact from fiction and avoid jumping to conclusions based on incomplete or misleading data. The prioritization of empirical research and observation over preconceived notions led to more effective treatments and solutions. The work of Paracelsus provides insight into the value of interdisciplinary approaches to answer questions and solve scientific problems. Here was a pioneer who took the risk of challenging the status quo that lasted for more than 1,500 years. By opposing Galen's theory of the humors, Paracelsus wanted to introduce more rigor into the scientific practice. In doing so, he opened new horizons for inquiry. From then on, conventional wisdom was always going to be scrutinized, and its claims subjected to verification for either confirmation or disconfirmation.